So you want to look at your personal energy and see what your theme is. Then things I do, I try and eat healthy. I don't like to gain weight in October because I feel like 1 pound in October is 12 by the end of next year because it sets up a theme. I've told the story on podcasts before, but I like putting fresh flowers in my house because if I always have fresh flowers in October, I can have fresh flowers all year. And I receive them from really random sources that are unexpected. So it's great, right? If you want your business to be busy, make sure in October you have lots of bookings. So there's definitely things that you can do in October that, if you want to start a new habit, but you want to make sure you succeed at it. Because if you fail at your habit in October, now you've set yourself up to fail in 2027.
Welcome to the Weekly Transit, your guide to understanding the current planetary and astral alignments. Together, we'll explore how to harness these cosmic frequencies, empowering you to reach your highest potential as you navigate the days ahead. I'm your host, Scott Tajarian. Welcome to the Weekly Transit. I am back here with numerologist Joy Woodward. She is a best-selling author. You are. Yeah. You gave me a look like, am I?
No.
So, best-selling author. She's got another book coming out that she's working on. She is a Sagittarius sun, a Virgo moon, and a Libra rising. And in this episode, Joy has been generous enough to come back and discuss what 2026 is going to bring to us numerologically. Am I saying that right?
Are.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Sometimes I'm like, it doesn't sound right when I say it, but great to have you here, Joy. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what are you thinking for 2026? How do you break this down? So it's a 1, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. Did I do that right?
You sure did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, we're finishing up the 9-year. And so everything in numerology runs on a 1 through 9 cycle. So what happens in 2026 is actually going to be the setup for the next 9 years. So things that start to take shape or form in that 1 year will carry through for the next 9 years as a bit of a theme.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know when this will air, but we still have a few months left of our 9-year. What you want to be doing is reflecting, releasing, really letting go of anything that is not going to be part of your future. And it's really important for that step to happen because it creates space for new things to come in. So whether you're clutter or, emotional baggage, it's you just want to make sure you're leaving that all behind. So forgive what you need to. 9 energy rules, forgiveness and resentment, releasing all of that. Digital clutter, go through your camera roll, get rid of your old emails from, the last decade. It's crazy. We all have a digital aura and people don't really give it a lot of thought, but they get super cluttered. And that's, your social media persona, your emails, your photo reel, all of that adds in.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking about my digital imprint and how cluttered it is and how I need to clean it up. But it's interesting to just think how that reflects astrologically because 2025 being a 9-year, so ending, releasing, getting rid, clearing the clutter. And, there were 2 new moons in Virgo during 2025, which is a rare occurrence. The last time that happened was 2006, but that was, extra clearing, extra cleansing. Virgos, the rules the intestines. The intestines are about eliminating whatever's in the body that's no longer serving the body. So, during those Virgo new moons, and the second one being an eclipse, along with there was a Mercury Cazimi in Virgo, and then you had the South Node in Virgo, which still persists through 2026, the first half of 2026, which is also about releasing clutter and releasing control and stop trying to hold on to everything.
And those new moons also fell in a 9-month, and 9 is about that releasing.
Wow.
Yeah, astrology and numerology really complement each other when you have, two minds that are equally dedicated to their craft.
I love it. I love it. I love the synchronicity. It's like it really just makes me feel like I'm living in a computer program, and it's like, I mean, it feels like life, but it's also, it's like, no, this is all like this is some like wild matrix that we're living in.
Well, the Matrix actually came out under a 1 year, so.
Oh. Okay, what year was that? It was in the late 90s.
Yeah, I want to say it was 99.
99, that makes sense, I think. Yeah, 1999 it was. Yeah. And so let me do the math on that. So that's 1 plus 9 is 10 plus 18, right?
Right.
And then
1999. So 3 nines is 27, plus 1 is 28. 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1.
Okay, yes. So you did that much easier than I was doing it.
That's my jam.
So yeah, it was 1990. Yeah. So you know what you're doing here. So it came out in the 99 was a 1 year. Okay. And then the 1 year after that, so there was 1 year. Was there? No, there's 2 1 years between that year and this year, right? So there's 2017 and 08.
Yeah.
08 and 2017. So can we look at, or so was 1990 was a 1 year as well?
Yes.
1990,
1981, 1972.
Okay,
and I didn't go back further than that.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fine. We can go. I mean, is there a similarity do you see between 1972, 1981, 1990, 1999, 2008, 2016?
Yeah, absolutely.
They can prepare us for 2026. Okay.
There's always season. This is actually a big part of how I set my predictions for every year when they start.
Yes.
So under a 1 year, generally there is some type of new icon celebrity that's birthed, right? We've had, Madonna reinvented herself under one energy with Vogue. Britney came out in 99, Lady Gaga in 2008, Cardi B in 2017. And then, so a 1 year, it sort of always crowns some type of new icon. And I think what's going to be different this time around, I actually think we're getting close to having an AI type celebrity influencer.
Ooh.
So it's, that's shifting. I mean, we've got AI girlfriends, you've got AI companions. I think that we're going to shift into that AI celebrity, AI influencer mode. And I mean, they're more available to people. So if you want to have a Zoom with whoever or have virtual lunch with your AI companion, you can do that. It'll be interesting.
Do you remember this movie? It came out in a 4 year, but it was with Al Pacino, and it was called Simone. Do you remember that movie? I mean, it's crazy to think that it was that long ago, but this was a movie with Al Pacino and Catherine Keener, and he was Who was Al Pacino? He was like um, I think he was like maybe a writer, a director, or something, and he ends up coming up with this. I don't know if it's supposed to take in the place in the future or the present day, but he, he creates this AI person that's like played by Rachel Roberts was the actor's name or actress's name, and he creates with this new computer program a computer generated woman that he can animate to play the film's central character. Like he's frustrated, he can't find the right actress for this role, and so he just creates her
Wow.
through this.
I
Yeah,
do
exactly.
vaguely remember something like that, but the movies always are fortune tellers. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's
totally.
crazy. Yeah, so
Yes.
this will be sort of a machine and muse meeting where people are co-creating with AI. Maybe they're co-writing songs, maybe they're co-starring in
Yeah.
movies. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that it's going to become sort of widely accepted that people have AI companions. And I think that you see them marketed right now as, AI girlfriends or boyfriends. I think they're going to be more about status symbols, like where's your AI from? Where's your robot from? Do you have an Optimus or you have the Timu version, right? Do you have a Louis
Hmm.
Vuitton of robots, or are you,
Oh
so there's
yeah.
going to be, it's just like cars. So I
Yeah.
think, I mean, we've already seen where that next generation isn't really interested in driving, and
No.
you've got Uber and everything else. So you're going to see people leasing robots instead of vehicles.
Yeah. I could totally see that. Because like it kind of clicked for me when my little cousins hit that car driving age, and they were, and that was probably like almost 10 years ago, and they really weren't that interested. Like it was very strange for me. You could probably relate because we're the same age, but it's like freedom to me was getting that
Oh,
car
I grew up.
because I was going to be able to get out of the house and go wherever I wanted to go. But now freedom is getting the iPhone.
Right, or the binoculars, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely.
Being able to have access to the
Yeah.
internet uninhibited.
Well,
Yeah.
that's sort of another thing that I'm looking at. Um, I think we're going to see a lot of, like, fashion usually shifts in a 1 year as well. 1990, you had the beginning of the whole grunge phase. When Y2K, all of that came in, there was a lot of metallics and, kind of got futuristic, some of the clothing. Then
Hmm.
now I think we're going to see clothing that's more about wearables. And they've kind of been training us for this, right? With eye watches and aura rings. So you're going to wear your technology, whether it's the
Hmm.
glasses, whether it's your clothes. Um, I don't know if you remember, I can't remember what they're called. They were hyper something where they changed color based on your mood in the 90s. You had these
Hmm.
t shirts that actually changed color. I don't know
Huh.
if
I
you
don't
remember
remember
that.
that.
Oh,
No.
took over my little small town in high school. Anyway, it
Huh.
was, um, I think that clothes are actually going to be sort of mood indicators as well. But
Hmm.
you'll have AI being able to design you a custom wardrobe, something very individual, and they'll be able to make it
Hmm.
affordable. So, one energy is all about individual independence, expressing yourself. And so, having that real, unique to you fashion statements, I think that's something else that we'll, we'll sort of see.
Hmm. It's interesting too that the Matrix, which is like all about AI and illusion, or the simulator, and that was a 1 year. So this next year we're going to go deeper into the simulation, the man-made simulation, because we're already in a simulation with the astrology and the numerology. It's like that's the code, but now it's like this is a man-made simulation. And so But I mean, I think that in the next 20 years, like, yeah, we're going to have humanoid robots, right? And they're going to be talking to you and you're talking to them and they're helping you with whatever you need. And I mean, our whole life, we've been prepped for this. Like, even if you look at like Star Wars, Luke Skywalker has R2D2 and C3PO.
Yeah,
Those are his robot droids. They're his AI companions. And, countless other movies. I mean, Blade Runner, so many
so
films.
many.
The Terminator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this next year, we're going to take that step where this is the first time a top 40 number one song, the hit of the summer, is going to be written by an AI source.
I believe so, at least co-written. It
Co-written, yeah.
might be full on, hard to say, but I think you always
I think everything is co-written,
right? You need
though,
that little
right?
bridge. You need someone to
Well,
hit the button.
yeah. Well, I was just talking to a client about this the other day because I was like reveling at like her incredible writing ability, and she is an incredible writer. But she's like, "Oh, well, I'm like using AI too to help me," and I'm like, "Oh, of course, But like, you can't like if you're already not a good writer, then AI is not going to make you a good
That's
writer.
very true.
You've got to know how to direct. Like, you could say, AI, write me a top 40 hit, and it will do its best job to write you a top 40 hit. It doesn't mean the song's going to be good, but if you are already a good writer and you know how to train the AI and help it and adjust it and edit it, then it can help you uh, create something meaningful.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's about that
Yeah.
whole prompting and what you can train it to do. I know with numerology, it just doesn't get it right. Like it
No.
no, it does not. I don't know if you find the same with astrology, but even if I just ask it for celebrities with a one life path, maybe 1 out of 10 it will get.
Yeah. That's not the right
No,
question.
well, yeah,
That's
but
yeah.
that's just one little example. Like it
Right.
does not.
But if you're asking the AI, like, what does a one mean? It's going to give you an
It will give
answer.
you an
It's
answer.
it,
What I
it's
find it does with that is a lot of times it blends different numbers together. And I'll
huh.
recognize it as, well, you said this, but that really belongs with number 8, right? Or you
Huh.
said this, because AI ultimately trains itself off the website, like off the World Wide Web. And there's a lot of not accurate information out there. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this blind trust, like that is where there's going to be a bit of a divide in people who still read books or educate themselves and people who 100% rely on what AI is telling them. That it's just not that accurate yet. I'm sure one day it will be brilliant at numerology, but not yet.
Well, I don't think that. I mean, I every AI that I use, like, they advise you to not trust it,
Right?
to
Don't trust
blind
me.
trust. Like, I don't know who's doing the blind trust thing, with AI.
Well,
Like, I'm
there's
certainly not. Like, if I ask it something astrologically, I'm going to look at the answer, and if the answer isn't to my liking, then I'm going to get into a conversation with it to help adjust it so that it will harness my
It's
voice.
really interesting. So there are certain numbers that will repeat almost anything they hear, that no research needed. I don't need to check that out. Then there's numbers that absolutely have to do their own research. They want to know the answer. They dig deep. They want to know the why. And so when you say who would do that, certain people with certain numbers.
Hmm. Yeah. Right. Right. What AI are you using?
Oh, I don't use it a lot. I mean, it just
Oh.
chat GPT, whatever. I mean, I'm,
Uh
you know,
huh.
if I have a question, I'll ask it. If I think it's something it can do research for me or compare things, I find it's really helpful there. But in
Uh-huh.
terms like I'm writing my book. I'm not using
Yeah.
AI for that. Um,
Sure.
but it's interesting. I'll get recipes. I have these three things in my fridge. What should I make?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Things
great at
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
But I haven't,
Yeah.
and hopefully I'm not using it enough that I'm getting left behind. But I feel like I've got a little good mix going on.
Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah, I can show the AI like an astrology chart and say like read this, tell me like what's house and sign is the sun in, and it's probably not going to give me the correct answer, but if I ask it to, write something, and I'll upload everything that I've written into the AI. So I'm like, I want you to use all of this information that I've written, and I want you to utilize this when I'm asking you questions. And sometimes I have to correct it and say, this is not where'd you come up with
Yeah.
this? Like this didn't come from me. And I'll be like, oh, you're right, I'm sorry, you're and so I have to like correct it. But like when I get it into a mode and a good flow, I feel like it's writing like I would write, and saying the things that I would say because I've trained it to do
But
so.
it's almost moody. So one day you could get that, but like 3 days later, it could give you something totally different. Like you're like,
I
remember what
don't.
we were doing on Wednesday? Let's go back to that. And then it's like, oh, sorry. It's really good at apologizing.
I think it's just it's adjustment. It's staying on it, it's just making sure that it's communicating the way that you want it to. And that's the work. If you're just like saying expecting it to do what you want it to do without any monitoring of what it's doing on your own, then you're going to be led in a direction where you don't want to be. But it's really a great tool if you are being diligent in communicating with it so that it is following your protocols and your standards and what it is you want it
Yeah.
to say.
Which AI do you use?
I use ChatGPT and I use Claude.
Hmm.
So, and I use them together. A lot of times like ChatGPT will say something and then I'll put it into Claude and ask Claude what it thinks, and I might get two different answers or something, and then you have to get to the
Right.
bottom of why they're saying. So I mean, it is work.
Well, yeah. How much
It's
time is
like,
this saving me?
oh, it's saving me a lot of time.
That's good.
It's saving me a lot of
That's good.
time. Like, I mean, I feel like I'm able to get so much more done because of this help, because it's like the difference between me spending all day thinking about what I want to say, uh, as opposed to just being clear about what I want to say basically, and then putting in all the information that I've written into the database, and then it communicating it back to me, and then I have to read through and make sure that
Right.
it's saying things the way that I wanted to say it. And if not, then I have to, edit it and adjust accordingly.
Right. Make-
Yeah. Yeah. So I love it. It's fun. And I'm sure a year from now, it's going to be even more advanced, and then 10 years, it will be like maybe doing its own thing. And like, it'll be like, I don't need your opinion on anything anymore. So,
Yeah.
so who knows, but yeah, I kind of look at it as like TV, and growing up, I think my dad's family was they were the last people on their block to get a TV, and my mom's family was the first.
Ooh.
So, some people are quick to adopt, and other people are slow to adopt. And the bottom line is, it's not going anywhere. So,
No.
you have to figure out how to utilize it for your benefit
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah, yeah. So that's part of this new beginning is the one.
Absolutely. It's going to look different. I mean, they've been preparing us, right? So now, and
Yeah.
I mean, I just read this morning that Tesla offered Elon $1 trillion salary to produce certain things within certain timelines, but one of them, is that Optimus robot, getting it down to like a $10,000 um, retail, so everybody can have them in their house. I think it was like 20 million autonomous cabs. So, I mean, why we're probably looking at the last generation to ever have a driver's license.
Wow. Wow. That's
It
wild.
is.
That's really crazy to think about. Huh. That's a little also kind of scary too. It's like we're getting more freedom in maybe some other areas, but then freedoms mean we're giving up freedoms
Right.
as well, because what happens when they decide to turn off the cars, you know,
Yeah,
then you're stuck.
absolutely. But I mean, most of our cars already have that. Unless you're driving a vehicle, probably at the turn of the century, they all have that chip
Mm,
that they can turn
okay.
off from anywhere, like
Oh
that
wow.
satellite.
Oh
I mean,
wow.
originally, I think it was so if you didn't make your car payment or whatever, they could flip the switch and go, then drive, right? You don't drive, you
Wow.
didn't pay. Um,
Yeah.
but you can use that for all sorts of things.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
yeah, and then there was a whole I think it's called robot ballet, where they're using just limbs of robots for production and things. And I mean, you've got to think of how that's going to impact careers and, people working. And so, from that perspective, I think at some point there will be a universal income,
Hmm.
right? Because you don't need people to work, jobs are gone. Move to universal income, everything.
Or wouldn't there be different jobs? Or
Oh,
there's just no
no,
jobs,
I
period?
think it
Because
will
all the
evolve
robots
for
are doing the
sure. There'll be
jobs.
different jobs. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like when they close the coal mines, like there'll be different jobs, right?
Yeah.
But universal income is something that I know Musk has been talking a lot about. And so you've just got to kind of look at these people that seem to have their finger on that futuristic pulse and, give
Hmm.
it a little consideration.
Yeah. I know. It's something that's been talked about a
Yeah.
lot,
Well, and then are you,
but I mean, it's also like that's communism, right? I mean, isn't like what everybody in China has an income that the government gives to them or something? Or I
well, we have
you
different
know,
forms of it. I mean, you get a family allowance or
welfare
child
check,
credit.
you
You
know?
get,
Yeah.
there's different, like this rebate, that rebate, whatever. It happens. Pension, is that not the same? Like, it'll be interesting to see how they evolve it. And do you have to qualify? Do you have to do anything to earn it? Right?
Well, of course you do. You have to obey the
Right.
government. Whatever the government wants you to do, whenever they
Right.
want you to do it, you have to do it even if you don't wanna do it. And then they still say that this is the land of the free,
Right.
but it's only the land of, what the government says you can do.
Right.
I mean, that's essentially what it
Yeah,
is.
so it'll be a lot of change, a lot of acceptance that this is simply a new way. And I think usually at a 1 year is also where that next generation becomes a voice, where they want to be heard. And so this will be Generation Alpha's turn to speak up. And they have different
Is that what
platforms.
they're calling it?
Sorry?
That's what they're calling them, Generation Alpha?
Yeah, they're
'Cause it's the
They're the
beginning
ones
of the
well,
century?
they're the ones coming up that don't want driver's licenses and things like that. They
Hmm.
also don't really like dating or have an interest in dating or sex. And so it's
Yeah, I heard
almost
that.
this, asexual kind of generation. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But also, if your girlfriend or boyfriend is a robot, and they're really good at hitting all the buttons, then I mean, it does sound a lot less complicated.
The buttons sexually, you're saying?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely. Oh, it's already happening.
it's already people are already having sex with
Yes,
robots? They are?
they are.
Where is that
Well,
happening?
just Google it. Google it, Scott.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I mean, it's like robotic sex toys or something.
Well,
Is
I mean,
that?
you've got to think that if you're inviting this robot into your home, like Rosie from the Jetsons, she's going to clean your house and cook you dinner and
Yeah.
do all these things. Like I remember FaceTime on the Jetsons seemed ridiculous, and that is
Did they have FaceTime?
on Jetsons.
They did?
Yeah, video calls.
Okay, video calls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that these robots where people are having these in-depth conversations with them, and I mean they're developing empathy. They know what it looks like, so a robot knows how
Yeah.
to give you an empathetic response, or AI, and so it's just a matter of time.
Oh, I know. Oh, I was saying that to Gabriella the other day. Is it like, yeah, in the next 20 years, people are going to be having sex with robots. It's like they did
2 years.
there is that movie that came out in 2 years.
Even
I mean,
less.
like, are they going to look like Megan Fox from that movie that came out last year called
Yeah, so
Subservience? Where
that's been happening for a long time. Those, the I can't remember what they're called. Those dolls that look like a
the
girlfriend.
blow up dolls,
No, well,
blow up
except
doll.
they're made with like fleshy synthetics that feel like a woman or feel like a whatever, and that whole thing. So now you just give them an AI chip and good to go.
Huh. Yeah. A love doll
Yeah,
is what they call it, I
I
think.
I mean it's not my area. I've never shopped for one, so
You haven't? Huh. So yeah, you give it an AI chip and that's your thing that you
and
do.
you
I
train
mean,
it
that's
just like you do to read astrology charts.
uh-huh. Yeah. So it will be your cook, your cleaner, your sex toy, and your astrologer all in one.
it's
So
it's going to evolve.
yeah. So we're all becoming more and more disconnected from each other in the actual physical sense. So eventually, we're all going to agree to go inside of these capsules like in the Matrix and just live in the simulation until the point where we actually forget that we're in this other simulation. um yeah, that sounds like a really exciting future, really wonderful.
It'll be
What
interesting.
a great way to start. What a great way to start
Well, I
2026,
don't.
to give up all.
It's moving quickly. It's moving really quickly, but it'll. I
Yeah.
mean, everything happens at the rate we're able to digest it. You see how they roll it out. I mean, I think we're being manipulated far more than anyone will admit or wants to acknowledge.
How's that?
Well,
Who doesn't want to acknowledge it?
well, no, but you know how thing like in 2020 we saw like, oh, here's an experiment. Like, let's shut the world down. And
Yeah.
they like if you had told someone about that in theory ahead of time, they would have said no way. And so like we need a fear component. We need to motivate these people, right? And I mean, we all know what that looked like.
So, I mean, a lot of people understood that right in the beginning, though, that it wasn't what they said it was. And, I mean, a lot of people went along with it and were angry at other people that didn't want to go along with it.
Polarizing.
But yeah, yeah. So, but I think there's really a strong group of people that understand the manipulation that's happening. I mean, maybe not the masses, but
This is where we
yeah.
talk about the muggles versus the magical people. The people who are asleep, the people who are awake. So
Yeah. So what do you do if you're awake in 2026?
If you're awake in 2026, what do you do? That's a great question. I think you learn how to co-create. You learn how to make the technology fit into your life, not fit into its agenda. If you can make it work for you, I think you'll have a different relationship with it. But it has to be a conscious
Yes.
effort. Otherwise, you'll end up on autopilot, not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. You got to use it rather than letting it use you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's the frequency for each month then? How do we is January a 2 because of 1 plus 1 equals 2?
Yes, you've been studying. You,
Okay. No, I'm just
you got it from last episode. You did.
I guess so. It seeped into my
Excellent.
unconscious. So
Yes. So what you want to do, really your personal year is always going to impact you more. So you want to take your own date of birth, the month and day, add those together, and then add the universal year to that. So for you, next year, your birthday, sorry, I've got so much paper for you, November 13th. Okay.
yeah.
So you take November plus the 4 is a 6. You always reduce to the single digit. So it's a 6
Okay.
plus 2025. You're going to be in a personal 7 year. And so then you take January. Now that's an 8 month for you.
8. Okay.
So,
Okay. So for me, it's an 8th month because 11 plus 13 is 24, which is a 6 plus 1 or plus 1 because that's the year is a 7, then plus the month is so January is an 8
yes.
year, and that's money. So January, I'm gonna be making crazy money in January.
Well, let's understand the numbers a little deeper. 8 is
okay.
It's a revolving door. So in an 8
Uh-huh.
month, it is money in, it's money out.
Okay.
So a lot of times in an 8 month, you'll make more or receive some type of unexpected inheritance or insurance check. Something will come in, but you'll also have an expense and somewhere to spend it. So 8 energy is not really what you want to use to financially get ahead. It's what you want to use to get your financial house in order.
So checking where the money's coming in and coming out and how to stabilize it in some way.
Or, just set up new systems, set up a new savings, habit or plan, set up a new budget, set up, new ways, new things you can do to manage your money. So it's really 8 years you can win the lottery, but you also could declare bankruptcy. So it's got both of those energies on it.
Well, but this is my 7 year though.
But we're 8 months.
So I'm not going bankrupt until or winning the lottery until 2027.
Be careful what you put out there, Scott. Okay. So 7 year is where you want to become the expert, really showcase your knowledge. Maybe you want to learn more about a certain subject. This is where you really want to develop that expertise. And so under 7 energy, it also rules the legal system. So there can be contracts, there can be, insurance claims, inheritance issues, things, all sorts of stuff that can end up in the legal system. So that is what 7 year, but really it's about self-care. 7, you want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. It's a little more reclusive. And 7 year is a good time to spend, in nature, around water. In a 7 year, a lot of times you also will see people having a tower moment where I'm sure you've already had your dark night of the soul, but a lot of times in a 7 year, I'll see people have that, you know, hit spiritual bottom to rebuild, come back better.
Mm.
But it really is the phoenix. It always rises. It always comes back better. Um, yeah, so it can express in different ways. There's a high low to every single number. So if you can
Yeah.
keep your vibration up and live at that higher plane, that's where you really will notice synchronicities and where the magic happens.
So when you look at each day of the week, so then like January 1st, that's going to be a 9 day for me.
For you, 8, 9. Yes, it'll be a 9 day for you. So
Okay,
I
cool.
wouldn't really count, like, you're not going to really feel like anything new is beginning. So this is what happens
It's
at
going to
the end of
be,
the year. People think the clock flips 12, the calendar changes, and they're all like, woohoo! It
yeah,
really is not the
it's
rhythm of the
meaningless.
universe.
No,
So
of course not.
October always holds the energy of the universal year we're going into. So October
Hmm.
2025 is going to be a 1 month. So there's always things foreshadowed there. Things that you can kind of look at, themes, things happening, and you can see how they impact the following year. Then November will in 2025 is a 2 month. December is a 3 month. Calendar changes over. Now we're in a one universal year. January is going to be another 2 month, same as November. December was a 3 month. February is going to be a 3 month. And so this is why at the beginning of the year, it is so slow. It doesn't ever really feel like there's gas in the tank. And it's because we're
Hmm.
repeating and finishing things up that happened in November and December. So this is where you might have interviewed for a job in November and you start that job in January, or you bought a house in November and you get to move in January. So there's always a theme of something continuing on.
Hmm. So in 2026, the one will be September.
September is always a double dose of the year that you're in. So this September was a 9 month of a 9 year for the collective.
Yeah.
Next year,
Yep.
September will be a 1 month of a 1 year for the collective.
So is that when the universal year begins
No,
the next year is
I
in
would I would
September?
like it begins January 1st, but I would say when people sort of start to feel it is March, right? A lot of times Lunar New Year, just because the collective is so, there's billions of people celebrating Lunar New Year. I find that's a really good push, a good place where you have a new moon to kind of kickstart things.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's end of January, sometimes it's February. That's always a nice time. And then you've got to look and see where the retrogrades fall. So if you have a retrograde in February or at the beginning of March, a lot of times it will still feel kind of, like you're dragging your feet walking through toothpaste, trying to, you know, figure out how to get your footing. But it is the new year, but you won't really see movement on a lot of stuff until March. And if you go back and look historically, retrospectively at what's happened, you'll notice like, oh, that is when things started to move. That is when all of a sudden, I got that deal or I, new contract or whatever it was. So everyone just needs to give themselves a little grace. But it's also, if you think about, people who are still setting New Year's resolutions, they last about 4 to 6 weeks, which is exactly the repeat of November and December. Like there's nothing fresh
Hmm.
about that. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, I always think it's March because that's when the sun transits into
Right, and that's
Aries.
the
And so
zodiac.
it's the first sign of the zodiac. It's cardinal fire. That's and the reason why things are slow going in January is because it's Earth, it's Capricorn. It's still cardinal, but it's like you're climbing
Right,
up the mountain and it's so slow and your legs are heavy and tired, like the spring is that fresh energy. It's Aries, it's cardinal fire, it's
right. Spring
spring, things are
equinox,
coming to
right?
life.
Like that's also a
Yes,
great
spring
place to
equinox.
mark.
That's to me that's yes, that's the beginning of the
Yeah,
year. Is
absolutely.
the spring
So your
equinox.
numbers will
Yeah.
shift and change, but really March is where you're going to start to feel it. And we'll notice that also in the
Uh-huh.
news cycle. You'll notice like November, December, it's a lot of rehash in January, February. Even if you look at the
Mm,
political system in a year, there's an election, it happens in November, they take office in January. Like you have that return of energy happening. And so, in terms of that
mm,
fresh, new beginning, you're looking closer to March. I like spring equinox. Like I
mm,
said, the Lunar New Year is good, but you need that kind of fresher start.
mm. Yeah, I love it. And then how do you figure out the triple sixes?
Well, so they happen in. So you're talking about. I call them angel number days, which I mean,
Yeah.
I kind of made it up. I mean, I'm sure it's out in the
Uh-huh.
collective that it's. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
because September, you're always in that double dose, right? So for you, you're talking about
Hmm.
triple six. You're in a six personal year. September is a six personal month. And because you take your personal year, you add the calendar month. So 6 plus 9 is 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. Okay. So we're still at 6. So now you have a 6 year, 6 month. The 9th, the 18th, and the 27th, which are all 9 days, you add that to the 15, 24, still a 6. So you have a 6 month, or sorry, a 6 year, 6 month, 6 day. And so for everyone, it'll be different. For the collective this year, September 9th, 18th, 27th was a triple 9 day. And you saw all the memes all over social media.
Mm. And so when's triple six going to be for me in 2026?
It won't be.
There
It will
won't
be
be
triple seven.
triple seven.
You're progressing.
And okay. And so how do we figure that out again? Is it going to be in the seventh
You're
month,
in.
or is that going to be in the
You're
ninth
going to be in
month?
the 7 personal year. So you add the 9 from
Seven.
September. Okay,
Yep.
so it's a 16-7 month. But 7
Yep.
plus
16,
7
7.
to a 9 day,
Yeah.
another 7. So triple seven. I don't know.
Okay.
Lucky
Right. Right.
sevens.
Right.
Maybe you
Yeah. Yeah.
want to go roll some.
Okay. That's the day where I go to and I win the
You go to
lottery.
Vegas, you roll the dice, triple
Yeah.
seven,
Yeah.
bet
On the
on
triple sevens.
seven.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna have to mark my calendar for that.
I'll
Uh,
send you. I'll send
what
you a
is
calendar again next year.
Yes, that'd be amazing. Thank you, Joy. So cool, and I definitely recommend check out Joy's website. The Joy of Numer. Is it just Joy of
Joy of
Numerology?
numerology.
Joy of Numerology, and get your calendar. Get your calendar for 2026, so you know which days to really activate the energy that you're looking to act
That
to an
that
to.
was
Yeah.
probably there's two things that I've done over the past 2 decades while I've been doing numerology. One is really working with the moon cycle, the new moon, the full moon, aligning that with the numerology of what's happening,
Hmm.
and then that knowing what the personal day is, especially if you're self-employed or you need to be self-motivated. It really can tell you if you're in a 1 day, it's a great time to begin something. 2 day, maybe it's
Mm,
date night, maybe you want to work on your relationship. 3 day, that's really creative energy. So if you have anything that you need that energy for, that really can get accomplished. 4 days, perfect for that Virgo energy. Get organized, cross the T's, dot the I's, sign a contract. 5 energy is about adventure and change. Maybe you want to try a new restaurant. Maybe there's something you've been waiting for to move, or you have something to sell. 5 rules sales energy. 6 rules your home. It also rules beauty. I always get my hair cut on 6 days. I try and, if I'm going to get my nails done or anything. So 6 days rules beauty. That energy will help you ensure that you're happy with what happens. 7 is that self-care, get a massage, spend some time alone, make sure you take time to meditate. 8 energy, I always pay my bills on 8 days. Because it's that money in, money out. So I feel like if I have influence over the money out part, then the money in can be, it's freed up. Show me what you need me. And then 9 days are great for forgiveness, release, and finishing things, completing stuff that needs to be done, or cleaning out a closet or cleaning off your desk. Just, it helps you release. So you always have an opportunity throughout the month, multiple times, of where you can tap into that energy. So whether you're in a 7-year or a 3-year, you always will have at least one day in a 9-day cycle where you can work on what you need to.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
I get that it's complicated, rhythm. Which is why I do the calendars. And you just look and go, oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't have to do all the calculations myself.
No, I had a client call me and go, at the end of the month, how did I go from a 5-day to a 1-day? And I had to, explain everything. She's like, oh my gosh, I've just been rolling it. And I'm like, yeah, that's, she goes, nothing's working. I'm like, that's not how you do it.
Wow. What do you think of the number 666? Like when people say that's the sign of the beast.
Right. So ultimately it becomes a 9, right? So, but I mean, the letters represented by 666 are F, O, and X. So is Fox News, is that the beast? Is the animal? Is that a beast? It's hard to say. So, but really, we talked a little bit last time I was on about how words hold energy. Like religion comes out to an 8, that rules money. It also rules hypocrisy, total reversals, changes. So, really, it comes out to a 9. That's something that they decided when they wrote the good book that, it was a message. I don't give it that power. So for me, it's a 9-day, like 666, it's a 6-day, but I look at it as 9, creative force.
Yeah. And a releasing of something.
9 is releasing.
Or forgiveness.
6 can be family. Yeah. It can be your home. Really, it's love, ruled by Venus.
Yeah. Wow. That's so interesting. So, can we break it down just quickly, like month by month? Like so January's 2, right? And then February's 3, and that's how it's going to go?
That's how it's going to go.
Okay, cool. So what is January as a 2?
So as a 2, that from a collective standpoint, you're going to look for partnerships to be made. You're going to see things on a big scale, whether it's alliances being forged between countries or partnerships, alliances, different places, government, leaders. Personally, it's about your personal relationships. So you want to make sure that you're nurturing those. 2 energy will also teach you about having patience, and it's a really good mediator. So if there's anything you need to work out, that's a good place where it can happen.
Okay. So January is about partnerships, mediation, negotiation, and then we move to the 3 of February.
Yes. And 3 energy is all about expansion. It's about your emotions. It's about creativity. So if you look at the flow lines of a 3, it looks like a pair of horseshoes. It can be very lucky. Um, Personal 3 energy, they can be very hard on themselves physically. Sometimes they can have low self esteem, but they like to talk, they like the spotlight. It's, it's a good time to showcase yourself. So if you need to promote something, 3 energy is a good place to do it. Okay. You might see it from the collective standpoint that they're trying to sell us on something.
Is that where the manipulation comes in?
Well, it's not.
And the end of the month is Pisces, so it's illusion, deception.
Yeah, where's Neptune? That's the other one.
Exactly.
So 3 energy, like I said, it's about expansion. It wants everything to get bigger. If you look at a kid who has a lot of 3 energy, you can always pick it out because they're like, it was so big, it was so loud. Like they really are enthusiastic about it, lots of emotion, exaggerate. I always say tell a 3 a story, they'll make it better. Now there'll be sort of accents and actions, like it's that's the 3 energy. And then March will be a 4. Yeah. And so 4 is that energy we had. If you think back to 2020, 4 rules the healthcare medical system. It rules big government. It rules big institutions. And if you look at, this is just such, I don't like using it as an example, but it's so crystal clear to use it as an example that 4 energy, it's about rules and regulation. It's about the healthcare system. So you always want to watch your health in a 4. So, and it can really be about healing. That's how I sort of like to frame it. What do you need to heal? And it doesn't have to be physical. I mean, you can heal your finances. You can heal your relationship. So you want to guard against being rigid. 4 energy, I always say your theme for 4 energy is flowing, not forcing. So if there's anything you're trying to do and you have to force it, that is not for you. You move on.
It's not for you. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Love that play on words.
5 energy, which will be April, is the one that's about change and shift. And it rules drama, right? So this is where expect the unexpected. What people need to remember is you're in control of your reaction. That's what you control. You cannot control what's happening around you, but you can control your reaction. So that's what people need to focus on. But it's, you might feel a little adventurous. You might come around. 5s are the first to accept new ideas. So this is where something could come in where everyone goes, oh, wow, that's crazy, but okay.
So April, that's when Uranus moves out of Taurus for the final time and into Gemini. It moves into Taurus, back into Taurus on November 7th, and then it transits out of Taurus into Gemini, and it's not coming back to Taurus for 80 some years and or 70 some years, but that would be 75 years or so. So that could be kind of that unexpected shift that occurs. Mars also transits into Aries in April. So there's a lot of fire energy in April. At one point in April, there's going to be when the new moon in Aries happens, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 planets in Aries, including the moon. So talk about like performance and big expression and like things like everything that's kind of built up through the first 3 months is going to kind of pop.
I look at charts and I'm like, when are the aliens coming? When are they going to make?
Aren't they already here?
Show themselves. Right? Okay.
They haven't shown
No, well,
themselves?
you know what I'm saying. Like, when are we gonna, like, stop pretending?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that seems like it could be a big shift, something
Yeah.
something new and, extreme. So that's 5
Hmm.
energy. May
Yeah.
will be a 6 month. 6 energy is about love. It's a huge
Hmm.
category. It rules birth, death, marriage, divorce, your children, your pets, your house, real estate. Um, it covers a lot of ground, and so 6 really you just want to focus and do everything with love. That's how you
Hmm.
get through it.
Well, that's really a nice compliment to the energy of Taurus.
Oh,
With the Sun and Mercury are going to be transiting through Taurus in May, not for the whole month, but for a good portion of the month. Mars moves into Taurus the end of May. And Taurus is the sign that's ruled by Venus, which is the goddess of
which
love.
also rules 6.
So, does
Yeah,
it?
6 energy is ruled by
Okay.
Venus.
Okay.
Okay,
Very good. Awesome.
June 7. So
Yeah.
this is where 7 rules your mental wellness. Sometimes people under 7 energy will experience depression. It's not an accident that 6 energy rules birth, pregnancy, and then 7, you have a lot of postpartum, the way it follows each other. So,
Hmm.
it very much, you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself mentally. Um, Self care. 7 is where we hear from Mother Nature. So, under a 7
Hmm.
universal year is where I've made predictions about mysteries, things to do with water. Under 7 energy, we had the submarine implosion. 7 energy is where
Oh,
the Malaysian planes went missing. Massive earthquakes. But there's always something with Mother Nature under 7 energy for the
okay.
collective.
There, yeah. Well, there's a one big shift that's happening in June. That 7 month is when Chiron transits into Taurus. So, and that's the
Mm.
wound to the sign of security
Oh,
and self worth and values. And actually, when the sun transits uh, into Cancer on the summer solstice, it's going to be forming a sextile with Chiron as well. So, could be wounding or insecurities coming up in terms of home life and family.
but like a sex head
Yeah.
sounds like it's wrapped in a hug.
Yeah, it's a positive aspect or a supportive aspect. So, maybe there's some healing happening here around financial uh, financial issues and home or family
Right.
connections.
So,
Yeah,
which July is
yeah.
an 8 month. And so that's the one that rules finance. So you can put a dollar sign right
Yes.
over the 8. Um, and this is
Okay.
where I think in a 1 year, I'm really looking to that there's going to be something to do with like a new financial system, a new
Hmm.
currency. Something will be making a huge shift in July.
Maybe that has to do with Chiron transiting into Taurus.
Well, Taurus, yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, because Taurus rules money or financial and material security. Mars also transits from Taurus into Gemini. That happens on June 28th, so right before July. And I think of Gemini as, that's a sign that rules commerce
Mm,
and the exchange of money. And on June 29th is when Jupiter transits into Leo. Uh, so the planet of expansion and luck in the sign that represents sovereignty or the heart
Mm.
or joy, fun, creativity. But later on in July is when the North Node transits back into Aquarius. That happens on July 26th. There's also Mercury retrograde that happens in July. That starts on July 1st in
Sounds like
Cancer.
we're binge
So
living.
there's a lot of shifting happening end of June, early July.
Yeah. Well, and June
So,
also can
or in
rule
July, yeah.
legal matters or passing laws. So that's where you can
Hmm.
see some of the regulations and rules come in around different things.
That's interesting too because, well, it's not June, but it's the end of July where Jupiter, which is the Lord of Justice, there's the Jupiter Cazimi in Leo, which happens on July 29th. So, yeah.
It's a
Hmm.
lot.
Yes.
All right.
Fun summer.
So
Yeah.
then August is going to be the nine, and that's the ending of
Yeah.
something. And so there's always a conclusion, there's always something that needs to be let go of. Endings for a lot of people bring fear. And so you really have to just work with the idea that anything you're giving up, the universe will replace with something better. So there's two ways to let go of something. One is with dignity and grace. The other one is to have it ripped out of your hands while you bloody knuckle it right to the end.
Yeah.
One is easier. So
Yeah. Except the ending.
yeah. So you just have to acknowledge what you don't control. Remember you're in charge of your reaction. And what nine energy asks you to do is to have faith. So you're asked to let go
Hmm.
of it, but you don't know what is coming in. But you just have to trust that it will.
Hmm. Well, that's the big lesson that we're supposed to be learning with the North Node in Pisces, which it'll transit back into Aquarius just before that happens in August. It happens in July, but it's about releasing control and having
Yeah,
faith.
making space.
So nine is just the 9 month, which will be August, is just pressing further that releasing
Right. And I find
frequency.
August a lot of times is where unfinished business from the previous year shows up to be taken care of.
Hmm.
Not because it's nine, but because it represents the numerical energy of the previous year.
Huh.
So
That's
for
interesting. Yeah.
you,
Go
August will
ahead.
be a 6 month. There'll be something that happens around, six energy, whether it's your home, your new family, something that has to be done around your marriage. So it's six, but it's
Yeah.
going to be a theme that was born in 2025.
Hmm. Well, I can see that to some degree astrologically because in August there's going to be four planets that are
Oh,
retrograde: Chiron, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are all going to be retrograde in August into September. So, yeah. Hmm. And yeah, in July, just going back with that Mercury retrograde, that happens in Cancer, which is home and family. So there'll be maybe some looking back and reflecting through that frequency as well.
yeah.
Hmm.
All right. And then September is going to be that
Yeah.
double dose, the 1 month of the 1 year. And I know for myself
Hmm.
personally, whenever I've been in a 1 year, September hits, and anything you've been kind of thinking about or it's been marinating, like, oh, I need to do this, this has to get off the ground. All of a sudden, September hits, and you get this big kick. You have a full tank of gas, and you're
Hmm.
just happening. And it just, all the energy is there for you to make it real.
Hmm. It lifts
It
you up.
really, I've noticed it through 3 cycles now that I
Wow.
1 year it was about my website. I just let that simmer and do nothing with it. And all of a sudden September came and it was like boom, and I had a website 3 days later. Like it was yeah. But,
I love it.
it was weird how I needed that energy. But one energy is also where you want to launch something, right? So it's a good
Mm.
time for beginnings. You don't want to be starting new things, launching things under nine energy. They don't really get roots. A lot of times they serve as a bridge over to your next, where you need to be next, but it's not long long lived.
Well, there is a lot of air and fire
Mm.
in September, especially the end of September. September 27th is when Mars transits into Leo. And by that point, there'll be Mars and Jupiter both in Leo, Chiron, Saturn, and Neptune in Aries, and then Pluto in Aquarius, which is fixed air, Uranus in Gemini, which is mutable air, and the Sun and Mercury in Libra, which is cardinal air. So there's going to be 4 planets in air signs and 5 planets in fire signs by the end of September. So it feels like a lot of movement
Wow.
happening the end of September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And then October will be a 2 month. And this is the one
Hmm.
that sets us up for the following year. So you want to pay attention to October 2026. Look for things that will show up in 2027. So, personally, when you look at your own numbers, this is where you can perhaps influence it a little bit based on your actions. So, I'm as diligent about what I don't do in October as what I do. So,
Hmm. What do you mean by that?
well, things I don't do in October. I don't go to the dentist. I don't go to
Hmm.
the doctor. I don't enjoy those things. I don't take my dog to the vet if I can avoid it. I don't take my car for an oil change because I feel like that energy is car in garage. So I don't
Is that every
every
October?
October. So you want to look at your personal energy and see what your theme is. Then things I do, I try and eat healthy. I don't like to gain weight in October because I feel like 1 pound in October is 12 by the end of next year because it sets up the theme.
Hmm.
I've told the story on podcasts before, but I like putting fresh flowers in my house because if I always have fresh flowers in October, I can have fresh flowers all year. And I
Hmm.
receive them from really random sources that are unexpected. So it's great, right? If you want your business to be busy, make sure in October you have lots of bookings. So there's definitely things that you can do in October that, if you want to start a new habit, but you want to make sure you succeed at it. Because if you fail at your habit in October, now you've set yourself up to fail in 2027.
And that's because October is in and of itself a 1 month.
It will always hold the energy of the next year you're going into. So for the
Okay.
collective, October will be a 2, and we will be in a 2 year for 2027.
Hmm.
And tentative date, hopefully my book comes out in October 2026.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you'll be writing that all through
Well, that's the
2027.
idea.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Right.
cool. I love it. So October is the month where you really want to focus your energy and attention on what you want to continue to resonate through the next
Exactly.
year. And so anything that you don't want to continue through the next year, you need to hold off until November.
Well, and this is a really good indicator I use a lot of times when I'm dealing with clients on relationships. If you're in a
Mhm.
relationship and it's feeling toxic or not fun or just not cool in October, the chances of that improving are are not great. So if
Mm.
you can keep your relationships harmonious, respectful, fun, in October, then you're setting yourself up for a harmonious year.
Amazing. I love that. I'm going to really pay attention in the October
Yeah.
months now about what I'm doing.
And
Okay,
if
cool.
if someone's listening to this in November and they're like, oh, damn.
I totally screwed up my October. This is
Yeah,
terrible.
it's,
My 2026 is
it's
ruined.
not. You have a chance to be really aware and cognizant of what you need to do, what steps you can take, what fail safes you can put in place to ensure that you have a good year. But I had a client last week that she asked, she's been a client for a long time. She asked me, they were starting a renovation. I said, well, you really don't want to be renovating in October. And she was like, oh, but, and people do the but, they try and fit themselves in. You hear it with astrology, I'm sure, all the time.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
but
for sure. Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
that renovation is still happening. It's doubled the budget, which is already big to start with. And she's like, renovate in October, renovate all year. And that's the
Yep.
theme it's set up for her. And so, I
Wow.
remember my husband and I moved in October one time, and we sold the house, we had to move. Where we went was temporary because we weren't really in love with where we were going. So then we moved again. We had stuff in storage. Storage got damaged. We had to move all of that stuff. Like we just moved. We moved the whole year. It
All
was a
year.
nightmare.
So how did you did it take until that next October to correct
No, it didn't take
what you
until
had
the next
started to?
October, but it was a theme straight through till probably about September.
So, and is this kind of like occur in sort of a microcosm way on the 1 days of each month?
I haven't paid attention to that, but now that you've said it, I'm definitely going to go back and look. I know one year I was traveling quite a bit and I was on a delayed flight. And every month I had a delayed flight. My flight was delayed for whatever reason. And so, what it allowed me to do, I made sure I always had a snack. I had my cell phone charger. I had a book to read. I had work to do. I just really prepared for it and was like, okay, so I'm going to have a couple extra hours here. Like, I used it very methodically. And, then I kind of broke the chain, but it did take till that one, I think, took till almost November. And that flight came in early. I remember when I had a flight that came in early and I was like, okay.
Oh, it's finally changed. Yeah. So is your general sort of rule of thumb is don't do anything in October that you don't want to continue doing for the rest of the next
Well,
year?
that might not be, if you have a job that you're wanting to change your job, you probably are still going to have to go to it in October, right? So that, making it a hard and fast rule like that isn't necessarily realistic. But
Or just focusing on what you really want to do that you love that you want to continue into 2026 because or 2027 and 2026 to 2027. So,
Yeah,
right?
so if
Is that
if you want to travel, if it's not in the cards for you to take a trip, research a trip. Start a savings account for a trip. Put energy out that would lead you towards making that a reality. If you want a new job, first off, you got to bless your job every day. You need to thank it for everything it provides for you. And then, someone is dreaming of that job just like you were one day when you accepted it in the first place. But now it's time to move on. And you want to leave your job in great, shape for the next person to walk in. In saying that, you can get your resume ready. You can get organized. You can research what kind of job do you want? Where do you want to go? So there's ways to put all of that energy out towards the goals you want if you can't make them happen.
right? And in terms of like the year being a 1, you're setting the tone for the next 9 years.
You are. So your
Yeah.
personal
Okay,
cycle
cool.
matters more. Okay. So what you started 6 years ago, that's where you are in that trajectory. This is
Because
truly
that was my 1
right.
year.
So,
Yeah.
and your 8 and 9 energy hold rewards that come in. Your rewards are directly related to your efforts of everything that happens in years 1 through 9. They start coming in 8. I mean, it's not to say good things can't happen before that or that they won't happen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there are bigger, more destined, fated markers that happen in that 8 and 9 year in terms of gifts coming in based on what your efforts have been.
So that means like 2027 and 2028 could potentially be big years for
Huge.
me. Okay, yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. Let's go on to November.
Okay, November is going to be a 3-month. So we're back to that energy we had in January. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're repeating.
So
Yeah.
because it
Okay.
runs on a 1 through 9 cycle, there's always 3
Yeah.
months
Of
that
course.
repeat.
Yeah.
So 3, expansion. What do you want to get bigger? And think about what's happening in November. It's not a fortune teller or crystal ball the way October can be, but things that happen in November will show up again in January.
Wow.
And then
So that's okay.
December will be a 4.
Yeah. Well, before we get to December, like
Oh,
I just want to talk about
sure.
November for a minute astrologically, because like Mercury and Venus retrograde, they begin retrograding in October, but their retrogrades continue into November. So by the time we get to November, there's Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Chiron, Uranus, and Neptune. They're all retrograde. So there's 6 retrograde planets at the beginning of November, and by the end of November, Mars transits into Virgo. So, and then the retrogrades are over by then. So, yeah. Yeah. That's a lot of reflecting. I just think of like reflecting back to January and
Yeah.
thinking about connecting the dots from January to November.
Yeah, and there are themes.
And then, what do you mean?
Because January was a 3-month, November is a 3-month, so
Yeah.
definitely
Yes.
connecting the dots is a great way to say it.
Okay, cool. And then December is reflecting February.
Yes.
They're both 4s.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, 4s. Yeah. 4s, and 4 is that like structure again, or it's going with the
Rules,
flow,
regulate,
right?
flowing, not forcing.
Flowing, not forcing. Flowing,
that's
not
one
forcing.
for healing. Rules the medical system, but think about what you want to heal. Okay. Rules government, big business. You want to finish what you start. 4 also rules procrastination.
It feels like there is a flow in December, because by the time we get to mid-December, or even earlier than that, like at the very beginning of December, there are 6 planets in fire signs. And I mean, that includes the moon, so there's really only 5 planets, but that's still a lot. Or 6 planets. No, there's actually 6 planets in fire signs. There's Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron in Aries. There is Jupiter in Leo, and then Mercury and the Sun in Sagittarius. So feels like there's a lot of flow, a lot of movement to like kind of getting the fire lit under you. But then, of course, in the winter solstice is when the sun transits into Capricorn. Right. And so that may create some of that stagnation. where you feel like you're trying to force things, but it's like, no, just take your
Right.
time. Don't procrastinate, but take your
Right.
time.
And forcing, I mean, usually for energy, it tends to blow up and backfire on you if you really try and force it.
Yeah. Such good insight, Joy. Thank you so much. It's fun to go on the journey of 2026 with you. I definitely feel a little more prepared. I think, especially when I listen back to this, and I'm going to have to take notes and then look at like all my own personal numbers. And it's going to be a real helpful tool to plan out the year.
Yeah. Oh, I
So,
find,
yeah.
like I said, especially if you have to be a self starter or self motivated, the numbers can really guide you as to how to
Yeah.
best use your day or where to start.
Yeah, they're great marker points. It's like you're running a marathon and you're like, okay, this is mile number
Yeah.
13, So, yeah. Yeah, awesome. Well, what final thoughts or insight do you have for the audience, and where can everyone find you to
Everyone can
connect?
find me at joyofnumerology.com on my socials. Everything's under Joy of Numerology. I'm not super active right now because I'm just writing. My deadline for my book, my manuscript, is December 1st, so I'm writing. But if you want updates on the
Yeah.
book, when it will be available, you can sign up for my newsletter. And then final thoughts. We're really at, it's the end of an era when we hit that 9 years. So everything moving forward, we're starting a new 9-year cycle. Everyone needs to be intentional. For those who are going to be in a 9-year next, when collective is in a 1, it might feel like a bit of a push pull, but just stay in your lane, focus on you, and yeah, things that started this year, they'll be a bridge to things happening next year, like in the collective, but they won't necessarily have staying power. So we'll have to see how they shift. But I would just say, know your personal number, pay attention, and your life will get easier. It will flow. You'll know what to expect. You can handle everything a little bit better when you have that insight.
I love it. Thank you so much, Joy.
Thank you.
I look forward. Yeah, you're welcome. I look forward to having you back, and we can continue the conversation.
Okay. Everything keeps moving. The planets, the numbers.
Exactly. So we got to keep
we
up.
do. Stay on top of it.
Yes. Thank you for listening to the Weekly Transit. If you're curious to learn how these transits or any other transits may be affecting you, or if you're interested in learning more about your astrological code, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog Lyman. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.